So then Srinivasacharya is telling that they are worth taking shelter of. Manno Sharanyakaro means how do we how can we take shelter of the Sad Goswamis? To understand Mahaprabhu, we require to take shelter of Sad Goswamis. In fact, when we understand Mahaprabhu, then we can easily understand Radha and Krishna because Mahaprabhu is the combination of Radha and Krishna. है ना? Mahaprabhu is a combination of Radha and Krishna. Right. एक एक तीर में दो निशाना. If you understand Mahaprabhu, then you understand two persons, Radha and Krishna. And how you can understand Mahaprabhu? By taking shelter of Sad Goswamis. And how you can take shelter of Sad Goswamis? Like we take shelter of Srila Prabhupada. How do we take shelter of Srila Prabhupada? By reading Srila Prabhupada books. The person who is chanting the names of Hari and not reading Srila Prabhupada books means he's trying to chant the name without taking shelter of Srila Prabhupada. Is it possible to get test in holy name by some people? Similarly, Srila Prabhupada has recommended all his followers that my followers should take shelter of Rupa and Sanatan Goswamis. In fact, Srila Prabhupada has given in his purports all that commentaries, all that purport from the acharyas like Sad Goswamis, Vishnu Chakravarti Pal, Baldev Vidyabhushan. Beginning. So we should take shelter of Sad Goswamis. And how to take shelter of Sad Goswamis? By reading books given by them. And one of the most important books is Nectar of Instruction. Most important book. Most important book. Nectar of Instruction, Nectar of Devotion. So by reading those books, we can take shelter of the lotus feet of Sad Goswamis and Rupa and Sanatana Goswami. So now let's proceed ahead. We had been continuing with the second sloka of Nectar of Instruction called Upadesh Amrita, in which six things has been told that to be avoided and which is detrimental for devotion service. छह चीज. What are the six things? Six things. Very poisonous, jahrila, and dangerous for devotion service. The six things, right? Starting from atyahara. अत्याहार प्रयासश्च प्रजल्पो नियमाग्रह जनसंगश्च लौल्यम च षड्विर्भक्ति.
विनश्यति.
हाँ, ऐसा तो कोई नहीं है बोला प्रसिद्ध थी. Sometimes it happens that prasiddhiti gets into vinasati, vinasati gets into prasiddhati. So one should be very very clear. ऐसा नहीं कि अत्याहार प्रयासश्च सदी भक्ति प्रसिद्ध थी. नहीं, सड़ी भक्ति विनश्यति, विनाश हो जाएगा है. सबसे पहले रूप गोस्वामी बता रहे हैं कि क्या क्या चीज से विनाश होगा, सबसे पहले ही बता दिया है कि नहीं. बाद में बताएंगे कि किसी से प्रसिद्धि हो गया. हाउ डिवोशन सर्विस विल गेट इनटू परफेक्शन, दैट विल कम बिफोर लेटर. इसलिए जो चीज डॉन्ट्स है ना वो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होता है, बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. जैसे अष्टांग योगा में क्या है, यम पहले आता है या नियम पहले आता है? यम पहले आता है. यम मतलब जो चीज नहीं करना है कि नहीं. उसके बाद क्या आता है? नियम आता है, जो चीज करना है कि नहीं. सो यम इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. Unless somebody has done niyam, it's very difficult to do niyam. Similarly, in devotional service also, the sinful activity has to be stopped. Anartha has to go away. Then only he will start getting relishment in bhakti. Right. अर्थ की निवृत्ति हो जाने के बाद, सॉरी, अर्थ की निवृत्ति नहीं, अनर्थ की निवृत्ति हो जाने के बाद अर्थ की प्रवृत्ति होती है कि नहीं. लेकिन हम अर्थ से ही निवृत्ति ले लेते हैं कर लो, अर्थ की निवृत्ति होने से पहले तो क्या ही का अर्थ अनर्थ निवृत्ति होगी. सो श्रद्धा, साधु संग था, भजन क्रिया, अनर्थ निवृत्ति साथ. अनर्थ निवृत्ति हो गई, उसके बाद फिर आता निष्ठा, उसके बाद रुचि या रुचि, फिर आसक्ति, भाव एंड ऑल दैट. So before anartha nivritti happens. That's why we see here the first what are the six things which a devotee must avoid in pursuance of perfection in devotional service. They are mentioned in the second sloka of Nectar instruction. So we had discussed till Jan Sangha. Remember? Jan Sangha तक हम डिस्कशन किए लास्ट टाइम. अत्याहार डिस्कशन हो गया था. कितना खाना चाहिए, कैसे खाना चाहिए, सब कुछ डिस्कशन हुआ. डेलिबरेट प्रयास से कितना प्रयास करना चाहिए, प्रजल्पा कितना करना चाहिए, कितना करना चाहिए प्रजल्पा, प्रजल्पा नहीं करना चाहिए. उसमें कोई डिस्कशन नहीं, प्रजल्पा कितना करना चाहिए, प्रजल्पा नहीं करना चाहिए. what different types of prajalpa that we discussed. Also we discussed jana sangha, how this jana sangha could be disastrous for a devotional career of devotee. We discussed. Srila Prabhupada is telling that. Now let's see, today we shall discuss ahead, further ahead, after jana sangha. uh, After jana sangha comes what? Laulyam cha. Laulyam. Laulyam. Satyam. Satyam. Okay. So here we go. So I will call upon devotees who can read it. You know, Aniruddha Prabhu, are you able to hear me? Can you kindly read it from here,
Hi.
Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Please read from here. Srila
Okay.
Bhakti Saraswati Thakur writes in his Anuvatti.
Okay. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur writes in his Anavritti commentary that too much endeavor to acquire knowledge on the part of mental speculators or dry philosophers falls within the category of atyahara, collecting more than needed. According to Srimad Bhagavatam, the endeavor of philosophical speculators to write volumes of books on dry philosophy devoid of Krishna consciousness is entirely futile. The work of karmis who write volumes of books on economic development also falls within the category of atyahara. Similarly, those who have no desire for Krishna consciousness and who are simply interested in possessing more and more material things, either in the shape of scientific knowledge or monetary gain, are all included under the control of atyahara.
Thank you, Prabhu. So what Srila Prabhupada is writing here, for the mental speculators, a lot of acquirement of knowledge. So this is one thing. Collecting more than needed. As for the mental speculators, this is directly from Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj. Whenever Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj speaks, means he encompasses everyone. उनके डिफिनेशन में सब लोग आ जाते, राइट. सब लोग आ जाते हैं, मतलब क्या कि भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज वांट दैट nobody should do atyahar, है ना. Whether he is a mental speculator, then he comes ahead to bang karmis, duty workers, karmis, who write volumes of books on economic development. इतना इतना सारा किताब लिखते हैं इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट के लिए, राइट. So many books. And they also falls in a category of atyahar. Means they should also stop atyahar. And stopping atyahar, what do they should do? They should do devotional service, है ना. So economic development falls in, and similarly those who have no desire for Krishna consciousness and who are simply interested in possessing more and more material things, either in the shape of scientific knowledge or monetary gain, are all included under the control of Jahar. Yes. So no desire of Krishna consciousness and just acquiring a lot of money. Yeah. This is what people think in this world. Without utilizing money in the service and mission of Krishna, they get a lot of pleasure in acquiring money and seeing their bank account increasing. Ah, 2 लाख हो गया, 10 लाख हो गया, 20 लाख हो गया, 40 लाख हो गया. मैं तो लाखपति बन गया. लाखपति बनने का धीरे धीरे सोचने लगता है कि पैसा और रहना चाहिए, और रहना चाहिए. फिर वो करोड़पति बन जाएंगे, फिर करोड़पति बन जाएंगे. 1 करोड़ हो गया, 2 करोड़ हो गया, अरबपति बन जाएंगे, है कि नहीं. लेकिन पता चलता है कि करोड़पति बनने ही वाला था, 99 का चक्कर लग गया, 99 लाख हुआ था, उसके बाद डॉक्टर ने बोला कि तुमको बहुत बड़ा डिजीज हो गया है ना, यू हैव टू गेट अ बिग सर्जरी विच विल कॉस्ट ओनली 10 लाख रुपीज। तो फिर उसका फिर 10 लाख चला जाएगा नीचे। एंड वन डे विल कम व्हेन द न्यूज विल कम that such and such Shulana Babu have left, and all that money, all that dream has gone finished. So this is atyahar for karmis, or uh, atyahar for the jnanis. It's too much accumulation of knowledge. Yes, karmis labor to accumulate more and more money. So from here, I think who can read? Nitish Prabhu, could you read from here, Prabhu? Karmis labor to accumulate more and more money. If you are able to hear me, Nitish Prabhu, are you able to hear me?
Yes, bro. I'm traveling, bro. So sound will
Also,
come.
you are traveling, okay? No issue, Prabhu. So can I request Saurabh Sarkar Prabhu to read, or he also traveling? Those who are, I think, not visual, they are traveling. I believe. Okay. Saurabh Sarkar Prabhu, are you able to hear me? No response. Anna Ghosh Prabhu, could you read?
Yes, bro. Karmis labor to accumulate more and more money for future generations only because they do not know their future position. Interested only in getting more and more money for their sons and grandsons. Such foolish persons do not even know what their position is going to be in the next life. There are many incidents that illustrate this point. Once a great Karmi accumulated a vast fortune for his sons and grandsons, but later, according to his karma, he took his birth in a cobbler's house located near the building which in his previous life he had constructed for his children. It so happened that when this very cobbler came to his former house, his former sons and grandsons beat him with shoes. Unless the Karmis and Gyanis
Become
become
interested.
interested in Krishna consciousness, they will simply continue to waste their life in fruitless activities.
हाँ, बहुत अच्छा, बहुत अच्छा एग्जाम्पल दिया प्रभुपाद जी। Karmis labor to accumulate more and money for their uh, kith and
Sons
kin,
and grandsons.
their
Future gen-
sons and grandsons. And they are materially attached with their sons and grandsons. They feel like, oh, मेरे बच्चे छोटे छोटे बुतरुक बच्चे, इनके लिए मैं कितना मेहनत कर रहा हूँ. And Maya works in such a way that the same people for whom they work, they in turn in future they start beating him. Forget about beating in the next life, as mentioned by Srila Prabhupada here, that fellow become cobbler in the next life. And forget about next life, sons and grandsons are beating in the very same life. Very same life. This very, very huge, a very famous story of one Singhania who was a who was the like a multi-billionaire personality, huge industrialist, and he erected whole his enterprise, and after that, his own sons just thrown him out of the his own house, right? His own house. Maybe something I am just forgetting. This was a big news somewhere in 2017-18. Now he's living in the rented house in very poverty situation. So this is the position of karmis, that they do not know that money what they are getting, the money belongs to Krishna. So without being attached to Krishna and utilizing that money in service of the Lord, they are thinking that my sons and grandsons will one day enjoy it, and they will salute me. And they will say, "Wah, देखो मेरे दादाजी की कमाई, दादाजी के वास्ते हम लोग उड़ रहे हैं आज हवाई." So one day they will say. But that day never comes. उसकी फिर हवाइयां उड़ाने लगते हैं फिर sons and grandsons. This is the irony of this world. If you are still not believing it, so it's your freedom not to believe the words of Srila Prabhupada. But I can guarantee, I'm लिख के देता हूँ, if you think that you will earn money and not for the sake of sacrifice and service of Lord Sri Hari and mission of Srila Prabhupada, then that very same money will be squandered and in such a way that you will be simply crying, having no control over the money you have accumulated. So this is what is the life of karmi. It simply accumulates and accumulates and accumulates. One day to just suffer and gets beaten up by the very same people for whom he had done so much of accumulation. Karmis and kyamis. So this is the karmi's fate. Accepting, yeah. Next from here, we'll go to this Jana Sangha ho gaya, Atyahar ho gaya. So now Niyamagraha. Next. Arika Prabhu, could you read it from here?
Yes, Prabhu. Accept, accepting some of the spiritual rules and regulations for immediate benefit as uh,
Utilitarians advocate.
utilitarians advocate is called Niyamagraha, and neglecting the rules and regulations of the Shastras, which are meant for spiritual development, is called Niyamagraha. The word agraha means eagerness to accept, and agraha means failure to accept. By the addition of either of these two words to the word niyama, rules and regulations, the word niyamagraha is formed. Thus, niyamagraha has a twofold meaning that is understood according to the particular combination of words. Those interested in Krishna consciousness should not be eager to accept rules and regulations for economic advancement, yet they should very faithfully accept spiritual rules and regulations for the advancement of Krishna consciousness. They should strictly follow the regulative principles by avoiding illicit sex, meditating, gambling, and intoxication.
So दो चीज है ना. सॉरी, what we are coming to now, Niyamagraha. प्रत्याहार प्रयास
Hmm.
से प्रजल को नियमाग्रह. Niyamagraha. So Niyamagraha actually having two connotations. The word Niyamagraha. So if we put akar, then it becomes agraha. And if we just accept agraha, then it is Niyamagraha. So the word agraha means eagerness to accept, and agraha means failure to accept. So there is very thin line between both of these two things to understand, right? Very thin
Hmm.
line. Sometimes somebody may be like may behave like he's such a powerful devotee. Uh, he's following every rules and regulation. But whether he's doing agraha or agraha will be understood when somebody will see his heart, what is there inside, right? तो कुछ लोग होते हैं वो बहुत रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशन के ऊपर क्या करते हैं, जोर देते हैं, है कि नहीं? But why they are following rules and regulation, they do not know. Why they should follow? They might be following the rules and regulation for some ulterior motive, है ना? यहाँ पे बताया जा रहा है utilitarians advocate, है ना? Like somebody tells, I go to मंगल आरती because मंगल आरती में डांसिंग होती है और डांसिंग में हमारा जॉगिंग भी हो जाएगा. हरी बोल, कितना अच्छा है. So what this mentality comes in? Niyamagraha or Niyamagraha? Who can say? Yes,
Agraha.
Niyamagraha. Yes. Doing seemingly devotional service for the sake of utilitarian activities. उसका use करते हैं, right? Devotional service का use करते हैं. Similarly, like somebody is like in college, and the devotee has asked called him that कल मंगल आरती के लिए आ जाओ, है ना, मंगल आरती के लिए आ जाओ. Then somebody else has told him that no 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 no, मंगल आरती घर पे सीख चुका है वो कि मंगल आरती जाने से पहले स्नान करना एकदम जरूरी है. तो भैया को बोलेगा, भैया मैं मंगल आरती नहीं आ सकता क्योंकि मैं सुबह में स्नान नहीं कर सकता. तो हम जब बिना स्नान किए हुए कैसे आऊं ना, हाँ, स्नान करने के बाद ही तो आ पाऊंगा. स्नान करके नहीं आऊंगा तो पाप लगेगा मुझे. ऐसे भगवत गीता हम लोग बांटते हैं तो कुछ लोग ऐसे बोलते हैं कि ना 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 ना, हमारा गीता स्पष्ट করতে পারবো না আমরা কি খেয়েছি, ডিম খেয়েছি, চিকেन খেয়েছি, এই हाथे की गीता स्पर्श कर लेंगे. ऐसा लगता है कि कितना बड़ा धार्मिक व्यक्ति है वो. उससे बड़ा धार्मिक व्यक्ति कोई है ही नहीं. वो क्या बोला है ना, আমি ধর্ম অনেক মানি, আমি গীতা স্পর্শ করি না, এখন চিকেন বিরিয়ানি খেয়েছি. Like that. So this comes in which? Niyamagraha, 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 Agraha. So, so very difficult to understand, right? So when we are doing devotional service, for the sake of doing it, अरे कर लेते हैं. There is no devotion inside it. There is no sense of pleasing the Lord. Just enforcing the things. Okay, कर लो, somehow or other. So too much rules and regulation without knowing the purpose of rules and regulation. One is too much rules and regulation, but without knowing the purpose of rules and regulation. एक बेस में एक भक्त का भोग लगाना था और भोग लगाने वाला कोई था नहीं. तो शास्त्र में लिखा हुआ है कि अगर किसी के हाथ में कहीं कट वट हो जाता है तो देन ही कैनॉट ऑफर भोगा टू द लॉर्ड. नो वन इज देयर टू ऑफर भोगा. एंड द डिवोटी टेल्स दैट प्रभु, even though I have got the cut little bit, can I offer? The duty department tells, no Prabhu, you cannot offer. Great offense if you offer bhoga to the Lord. You have got cut and blood is coming. Prabhu, I will just put some lotion and I will make sure that blood doesn't go into offering bhoga. I will make sure. Let me offer bhoga. तो वो नहीं 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 नहीं, तो कौन करेगा भोगा? नहीं, भोगा नहीं लगेगा. आप भोगा कट के साथ नहीं लगा सकते. तो दिस इज लाइक ऑल्सो नियम आग्रह. एंड नियम आग्रह मीन्स व्हाट? नॉट केयरिंग ऑफ द रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशन. नॉट केयरिंग फॉर द रूल्स. जैसे भोग लगाना है धोती कुर्ता में, तो सपोज कोई भक्त को भोग लगाना है, तो प्रभु जी टाइम नहीं है, टाइम नहीं है, तो क्या भोग लगाना है? ठीक है, जींस पैंट पहने हुए सड़ा वाला गधा गंदा वाला, और उसी में जाके भोग लगा दिए. ठीक है नहीं? दिस इज द एग्जाम्पल ऑफ नियमग्रह. नॉट केयरिंग फॉर द रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशन एट ऑल. पूरा क्या बोलते हैं उसको, क्या बोलते हैं उसको, मन मर्जी, मन मर्जी करते हैं ना, मन मर्जी. जैसे कहते ऐसे कर दिए. कभी 6:30 बजे मंगल आरती कर दिए, कभी 7 बजे कर दिए, कभी वो जब उठे तभी कर दिए, है ना. फुल, नो रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशंस. सो दिस इज नियमग्रह, नॉट केयरिंग फॉर द रूल्स. कभी प्रसाद खा लिए बेस में, कभी जा रहे हैं लोकल ट्रेन में बंगाल में, उधर से कोई निरामिष चनाचूर लेके आ गया, निरामिष झालमुड़ी. तो निरामिष আছে ঠিক আছে দিয়ে দেন, খেয়ে নি নিরামিষ চানাচুর, वो खा लिया निरामिष चानाचूर खा लिया. नो रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशन. देख भी रहा है कोई, देख तो नहीं रहा इधर उधर, कोई है नहीं तो बेस वाला कोई है तो नहीं. नहीं तो फिर वीडियो शूटिंग कर लेगा तो हमारा बेइज्जती हो जाएगी, राइट. सो दिस इज नियमांकन, नियमाग्रह, नियमाग्रह, two things. At the same time, like suppose fruits can be eaten, fruits can be eaten. Somebody is there just feeling very hungry, उस खाने पीने के लिए नहीं, फ्रूट्स अवेलेबल है, तो फ्रूट्स अवेलेबल है. दूसरा वक्त बोला नहीं प्रभु, you cannot take anything, you not even fruit you can take outside if you are feeling hungry. Otherwise sin will incur and you become sinful. So this is niyam agra. आग्रह करना जबरदस्ती. Okay, a fruit can be offered to the Lord anywhere. Just chant some mantra, Harinam, and you can take fruits. For fruits, you don't require that knowing. But whatever is being prepared by some outside people, chanachur, dal, mudi, falana, dhimkana, chole bhature, what is being sold in market. So there is very thin line. So one should know very well. That's why devotee's guidance is needed, that to figure out what is Niyamagraha, what is Niyamagraha, and what to be done, how to be done. So one should have a very balanced life. One should not go in either of the extremes. We should not go to Niyamagraha, not enforcing rules and regulations without knowing the purpose behind it. Enforcing rules and regulations without knowing purpose behind it, and neither one should go to not caring about the rules and regulations, just doing whatever. So strictly one should follow regulated principle avoiding illicit sex, meat eating, gambling, and intoxication. That is basic thing. For that, there is no ambiguity, there is no confusion in following four regulative principles. That when one further advances, one should know very well that what should be done when and in what mood one should do what, right? So why we do what we do should be very, very clear. Then one will able to figure out whether he is balanced in his approach or he is refraining from Niyamagraha, either Niyamagraha or Niyamagraha. So from here, who has read till now? Who has not yet read? They can read. Okay, Arka Tiwari Prabhu, you have read it? Okay, Ankur Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu. One should also avoid association with Mayavadis who simply blaspheme Vaishnavas' devotees, Bhuktikamis, who are interested in material happiness, Muktikamis, who desire liberation by merging in the existence of the formless absolute Brahman, and Siddhakamis, who desire the perfection of mystic yoga practice, are classified as uh,
Haris.
Atyaharis. To associate with such persons is not at all desirable.
So
Desires to
this is Jan Sangha, है ना? Jan Sangha. Jan Sangha मतलब अनवांटेड एसोसिएशन. जन मतलब पब्लिक एंड संघ मतलब एसोसिएशन. पब्लिक का एसोसिएशन. तो कैसा पब्लिक एसोसिएशन? पहला चीज तो प्रभुपाद जी बोले, मायावादियों के साथ
Mayavad.
नहीं एसोसिएट करना चाहिए, है ना? मायावादी के साथ एसोसिएट किएगा करेगा, दे विल बी लॉस्ट. थोड़ा सा भी उसके हाँ में हाँ भर दिया, finished, it's gone. He will say that, hey, you are you are worshiping Krishna, that's good, but your guru have a material body, huh? Isn't it? So your guru is a material person. Now he's become very famous, but he's after all having material body. And yeah, somebody will start thinking, yes, this is truth. Then finished. So all his Shraddha, all his bhakti, devotion, service will get over. Poisoned. Mayavadis. You must be very, very careful not to associate with Mayavadis because they are simply blasphemer of Vaishnavas. They somehow or other try to demean Vaishnava's position. And that's why this Mayavadi has to be avoided by common devotees. Of course, Mahaprabhu can associate with Mayavadis and he can turn all the Mayavadis into devotees, but we cannot. In the first term, when Mahaprabhu was visiting Vrindavan, and while going toward Vrindavan, he came across this Mayavadis like Prakashanand Saraswati. And he simply avoided. Mahaprabhu simply avoided. Before reaching to Vrindavan, Mahaprabhu told, Mayavadi Bhasha Sunile Hoi Sarvanash. Mayavadi Krishna Tarani. So I don't want to associate with them. So this is for general people. Mahaprabhu just don't stop there. When he returned from Vrindavan, he converted every Mayavadi into Vaishnavas. Mahaprabhu can do it. But a neophyte devotee will think that, okay, I'll go and preach Mayavadis. आप मायावादी को प्रचार करके मैं उनको वक्त बना दूंगा, है कि नहीं? पता चला कि ऐसा कन्वर्जेशन में छिड़ गया, मायावती शुड बी आल्सो लाइक गुड, आई मीन a good standing, knowledgeable person into their vada, then he may create a lot of doubt and disturbances into the mind of a neophyte devotee. They have that potency. Uh, and even little bit of alignment toward their thoughts, somebody has aroused, means he has gone, वो poisoned हो गया है। इसलिए मायावादियों का संग बिल्कुल नहीं करना चाहिए, बिल्कुल भी नहीं। So this is the first thing one should avoid. The Mayavadi association is more dangerous than Bhukti Kamis and Mukti Kamis. Why? Because Bhukti Kamis and Mukti Kamis, they will not give blasphemous association, but this Mayavadi will give blasphemous association toward Vaishnavas and toward Supreme Lord. That's why first time on the first preference Srila Prabhupada has given what? That association of Mayavadis should be simply avoided. Then comes Bhukti Kamis, who are interested in material happiness, है ना? Who are simply interested in material happiness. And if somebody goes and associates with those people, those are simply interested in material happiness, then they will also start belittling the devotee association, belittling the acharyas, and in this way, his devotional service will also spoil. We have seen in the course of our preaching services, once what happened, one devotee, he was a good devotee, he was a good practitioner. Then he started associating with some of his batchmates, classmates, and he was better in his studies. So he was going to get some problems solved and some academic things to sort it out. So in between this materialistic friend, then he started giving bad association to that devotee. How he started giving bad association? He started asking all different types of questions. वो क्वेश्चन पूछता था, तुम कहाँ सोते हो? तो बोलता था, मैं तो नीचे सोता हूँ, बेस में नीचे सोता हूँ। ओह, तुम नीचे घुमाओ? अरे वाह, पावरफुल। उसके बाद फिर पूछा, अच्छा आप कितने बजे उठते हो? मैं 4 बजे उठता हूँ। 4 उठ जाओ, 4 बजे उठ जाते हो? हाँ, 4 बजे उठ जाते हो। तो उसके बाद फिर वो फिर सारा पूछने, क्या खाते हो? तो मैं चपाती सब्जी खाता हूँ, राइस दाल सब्जी खाता हूँ, ये खाता हूँ, वो खाता हूँ। Then slowly he started pulling his leg, telling, अरे तुम लोग क्या इतना मन गंदा जीवन बिता रहे हो, क्या मजा कुछ नहीं है, बेटर टू कम आउट फ्रॉम दैट एसोसिएशन and see my life is so good, I stay here, I take gaja, I take charas, and I have my own life, my own freedom in my own life. I live my own life. I have my own schedule, no force, nobody to see and when I do what. I have better study, better academics also. See, this is the effect of my freedom, that I have better academics than you. So why don't you emulate my lifestyle? Leave that. Then I started thinking, यार बात तो सही बोल रहा है, बात तो सही बोल रहा है। ये भुक्ति कामी का सोचेस कैसा होता है? So then he will come, he will be morose, he will come in association duty, he will be like, he will be morose because he has now got wrongly ambitious. He has been poisoned by materialistic association. Now his ambitions direction has been fully changed by materialistic association. Then he will start finding devotees. Oh, these people are crazy people. बोल रहा था ना, वो मेरा दोस्त बोल रहा था, पागल लोग हैं। ठीक है, ठीक है, थोड़ा मोड़ा ठीक है, लेकिन पूरा ठीक नहीं है। Then the brains of blaspheming nature or offensive nature has got into the heart of that person because of janasanga, association with uh, materialistic people, specifically this bhukti kamis, है ना? हाँ यार, कुछ खाने को है ही नहीं। यार डेली को यार कुछ बना के रख देते हैं, राइस दाल सब्जी। अरे कभी कुछ बनाना चाहिए आप लोग को, कुछ तो बनाना चाहिए, कुछ गर्मा गर्म होना चाहिए। बाहर हम देखते हैं कि लोग क्या क्या खाते रहते हैं, आप लोग डेली का डेली एक ही चीज बना के छोड़ देते हो। भुक्ति काम इसका एसोसिएशन का प्रॉब्लम। So then, so for little things, you will start finding faults in the association of devotees. प्रभु जी मैं छोड़ के जा रहा हूँ बेश, आज बहुत दिन हो गया मुझे, आज मोमो खाए हुए, इतना दिन से मोमो नहीं खाया, तो भक्ति में आया मोमो नहीं खाया, तो लोग मोमो नहीं बनाते हैं। तो प्रभु जी बना देंगे, हमारे सप्ताह में एक दिन मोमो का भी मेनू है। नहीं नहीं प्रभु, नहीं रहना है, एक दिन क्या, बार बार तो आप लोग चपाती बनाते हो। So then he will be. So Bhukti Kami association is also dangerous and could be dangerous in this way, because he will have so much of ambitions, artificially, क्या बोलते हैं उसको, accelerated into the heart. And भक्ति का जो एस्पिरेशन है वो तब जाता है भक्ति कामियों के एसोसिएशन में। तो उसके कारण क्या होगा कि then he will come in association of devotees, then he will have wrong inspiration and wrong aspirations. He has got wrong inspiration from Bhukti Kamis, and he will have wrong aspiration here in the association of devotees. And because of that, he will do what is called aparadhas. So then the Mukti Kamis who desire liberation by merging with existence formless absolute truth. आजकल मुक्ति कामी लोग है ही कहाँ, सब तो मोस्टली भुक्ति कामी ही हैं, but still there are very few those who are giving more preference to mukti than bhakti. So they are very rare souls. But still, we should be very, very careful. Very rarely it is seen that somebody has become devotee and after that they have gone into impersonalistic school. बहुत rare देखा गया, बहुत rare. But it could also happen if somebody gets into so much of reading books, ज्ञान मार्ग books, not caring for Bhagavatam, then he may also lose taste of Bhagavad Bhakti for time being. Then Siddhi comes desiring perfection of mystery yoga practices. ऐसे लोगों के साथ अगर संग करेगा तो हो सकता है that he may also get wrongly influenced, inspired wrongly, and in return he may leave off from Krishna consciousness. So now let's go to this purport. Srila Prabhupada writing something more. So after 5 minutes we will stop. Desire to expand the, यहाँ से, who are not yet read, not yet read so far.
Who may I?
Who is he?
I'm Monai Prabhu.
Mone Prabhu, yes, Mone Prabhu, please tell, please read. Yes.
Desires to expand the mind by perfecting mystic yoga, merging in the existence of Brahman, or attaining whimsical material prosperity are all included within the category of greed, lolya.
Yeah.
All attempts to acquire such material benefits or so-called spiritual advancement are impediments on the path of Krishna consciousness.
Well,
Continue karo Babu.
yes, Prabhu, continue on.
Modern warfare waged between capitalists and communists is due to their avoiding the advice of Srila Rupa Goswami regarding Arya Atyahar. Modern capitalists accumulate more wealth than necessary, and the communists, envious of their prosperity, want to nationalize all wealth and property. Unfortunately, the communists do not know how to solve the problem of wealth and its distribution. Consequently, when the wealth of the capitalist falls into the hands of the communists, no solution results. Opposed to these two philosophies, the Krishna conscious ideology states that all wealth belongs to Krishna. Thus, unless all wealth comes under the administration of Krishna, there can be no solution to the economic problem of mankind. Nothing can be solved by placing wealth in the hands of the communists or the capitalists. If a $100 bill is lying on the street, someone may pick it up and put it in his pocket. Such a man is not honest. Another man may see the money and decide to let it remain there.
thinking
that he should not touch another's property. Although this second man does not steal the money for his own purposes, he is unaware of its proper use. The third man who sees the $100 bill may pick it up, find the man who lost it, and deliver it to him. This man does not steal the money to spend for himself, nor does he neglect it and let it lie in the street. By taking it and delivering it to the man who has lost it, this man is both honest and wise. Simply transferring wealth from capitalist to communist cannot solve the problem of modern politics. For it has been demonstrated that when a communist gets money, he uses it for his own sense gratification. The wealth of the world actually belongs to Krishna, and every living entity, man and animal, has the birthright to use God's property for his maintenance. When one takes more than his maintenance requires, be he a capitalist or a communist, he is a thief, and as such he is liable to be punished by the laws of nature.
Yes, they are liable to be punished for laws of nature. How? They will fight amongst each other, right? And they will punish. Both of them are dirty fellows, है ना? So Prabhupada gives the example of जब कॉलेज में सच कॉलेज में नहीं स्कूल्स में दो बच्चे बदमाशी करते हैं तो दोनों बच्चों को क्या करते हैं टीचर बोलते जा बेटा बाहर निकल जा पीछे जाके एक दूसरे का कान पकड़ ऐसे करके तो एक उसका कान पकड़ता है वो उसका कान पकड़ता है दे बोथ दे स्टार्ट पुलिंग इच देयर ईयर्स तो उसका कान जोर से खींचता है तो उसका कान जोर से खींचता है सो इन दिस वे दे सफर each other make each other suffer so like this the both capitalist and communist both are actually both are culprit actually everything belongs to Krishna everything belongs to God and everything should be utilized in God's service so if any nation any man any community any society want to live a happy life they must recognize that everything belongs to Krishna everything belongs to Rama. That's what we see now. Garma Garmi has started between two poles, communist pole and capitalist pole. But India is cool because India, they know everything belongs to Lord Ramachandra. Pati Ram is also Bharatpati Ram. So of course they are also not giving everything for uh, Ram. But it's actually better situated. So ultimately, Atyahara happens because people they want to do Atyahara. Sorry, people they want to do Atyahara. That's why what do they do? Prayasa. A lot of prayas they do. Then prayasa, then while prayasa they do prajalpa. Then Niyamagraha, not knowing why they're doing what they're doing. So like this we see Janasangha, if somebody does, and Lolyam, the greediness for accumulating a lot of money. Greed, और ज़्यादा चाहिए और ज़्यादा चाहिए. Because there is no satisfaction in accumulating money for sense gratification. You know, जो लगता है sense gratification मन नहीं आ रहा, मजा नहीं आ रहा है, और ज़्यादा पैसा कमाएंगे तो और मजा आएगा. But that मजा never comes because he's not utilizing money in the service of Krishna. So lolyam increases and increases and increases, and greed increases. Then Sankara lolyam sadhivir bhakti vinashati. So now some number of paragraphs are there. So we shall complete it in next sitting. So far today we will pause here. If anything you need to discuss, anything to ask, so we can go ahead for next 5 minutes. For 5 minutes, then I'll discuss. Arka Prabhu, yes, please tell.
So, need some clarification about Niyamagraha that you mentioned that there is a very thin line between Niyam Agraha and Niyam Agraha. So, there is a point that we should not found faults to someone else that वो ये नहीं कर रहा वो नहीं कर रहा all the same time we need to follow the four regulative principles so इनिशियली अगर हम किसी को देखते हैं कि डिवोटी बहुत अच्छा करते हैं हरे कृष्णा, मतलब वी थिंक आवर सेल्फ वेरी डाउन, वेरी फॉलन, बट ग्रेजुअली व्हेन यू पास सम टाइम इन द एसोसिएशन, देन वी फाउंड दैट ওনার এটা ভালো না, उसका आइडिया नहीं है, वो नहीं है। तो sometimes that is मतलब dangerous for our own self. So how should we treat that kind of thing, that when we show that something which is not favorable for bhakti and they are following that then committing some mistakes, so how should we take care of this kind of actions so that मतलब fault finding भी नहीं हो, और at the same time हम उनसे थोड़ा दूर भी डिस्टेंस भी मेंटेन करके खुद का अच्छे से भजन कर सके। ये थोड़ा एक अगर
Already given the answer in your question only, bro. So how to keep distance and we are able to do devotional service? Yes, we need to
हृदय में
keep
कुछ पूरा नहीं हो उनके प्रति, और एक तो कैसे कर सकते हैं ऐसे?
so, so thing is that we when we see somebody is doing devotion service from far off, we feel like we are humble, we are not doing any devotion service. That is humility on the very superficial platform. You know. Real humility happens when somebody sees supreme personality of Godhead in every person and every person's acts. So when that happens, means that is very high platform. So Sarvabhutesu yapashyat bhagavad bhavamatmana. When he sees the supreme personality of Godhead acting through different persons, and he sees the supreme personality of Godhead, then real humility is seen, right? So now we might be feeling humble. And when we start finding fault, then we feel like a rowdy. Then we become not, then we won't feel so much humble. So that's why we should, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj tells, when somebody else's faults misdirects you, immediately stop right there, stop there, and start finding faults in your own self. Because we ourselves are more faulty than anybody else. You know, to start finding fault in your own self. You yourself are faulty. You know, why you are seeing faults in others? And so seeing faults will never get us to higher platform of Krishna consciousness. Faults. So that's why we should immediately become inward. We should immediately start saying internally. Unless somebody has appointed you that Prabhu, you take care of these devotees and remove their faults from there. We should not take our own self-appointed position to be fault finders and correctors of others. So in that situation, we should discuss from the devotee that Prabhu, I have seen such and such activities, in such and such devotees. I don't feel like it is okay, So what do you tell about? So we can just discuss with senior devotees and we should take the right measure. So otherwise, if we cannot correct anybody, we cannot do any good to them. Simply finding faults will create a lot of problem for our own life. So for without adhikar, we should not go ahead. Our adhikar is that we should progress in Krishna consciousness, and removing faults of a jiva is the sole authority and service of Sri Guru, and Sri Guru and Gauranga. Our service is just to some or other serve the instructions of Sri Guru, and in that way we proceed ahead. The Guru actually corrects. Guru actually finds faults. So that's their position, right? So that way we should think. We should see if we are seeing faults in other devotees. We will see faults because we are not Paramahansa. Paramahansa never see faults in another devotee, even though he's. We will see faults, but we should see and we should simply proceed ahead our own devotional service, praying for their correction, praying for their benefit, praying for their improvement. We should simply proceed ahead because every jiva, whoever has come in this material world, we all of us are faulty. That's why we are here. None of us are दूध का धुला हुआ सब फॉल्टी लोग हैं सब डिफॉल्टर लोग हैं बैठे हुए so what to talk about others we ourselves are गए थे दूसरे का दोस्त देखने, अंदर हमारी, there is one proverb in India, no, that this the sieve is finding fault with the needle.
Hmm.
That you have a hole inside your, right, behind your this needle. You understand? In needle in
Yes,
behind
yes, yes. Hmm.
there is a
Uh-huh.
chidra, there
There's
is
a
a
hole
hole.
inside this.
But who is finding faults? A sieve who has 100 holes in his own.
हाँ
Sieve समझते हो ना, छलनी।
हाँ हाँ
तो छलनी को खुद अपना होल देखना चाहिए, उसके खुद में कितना
हम्म,
होल है। सुई का होल होल देखने चला। So one should be cautious about it, that we are not perfected souls, and what best thing what we can do, that we could do our devotion service nicely and find fault in our own self and pray for others, right? And if somebody has given you appointment, appointed you for doing, for finding faults, correcting, if you are that adhikar you have got, then you may do it. Otherwise, you don't have adhikar. Very difficult. Even Guru nowadays we see the Guru also the fear correcting his disciples. Because disciples may not accept. Uh, disciple may say that, "Lord Guru Maharaj, I don't like you now. I don't accept you. You are finding." So nowadays living it is so difficult, right, to handle. So who are we now?
uh,
Okay, fine.
and one last that who was practitioner of Gyan Yoga, sometimes what can I see that there are some
So,
devotees there who
I
are
think Anapru had raised his hand. So I'll come back to your
oh,
question again. Let
oh,
me go through one, like in one go. Whoever is there,
Hare
Anapru
Krishna.
has raised his hand and Congo devotee has raised his hand. Hare Krishna. Anapru,
Yes, Bro, I have one question that how can I understand that I am doing prayas? Like I am giving an situation which I am currently facing. Like I have cleared a job which is like very much high salary, but it is very much hectic and too much time of hours I have to sit in the branch, and also like too much work pressure for like I think 10 to 12 hours a day. So my consciousness will only busy in only the my occupational I mean जो जॉब है वही में मतलब सब कॉन्शसनेस चलता रहेगा। तो अगर मैं ऐसा कुछ एक और बेटर अपॉर्चुनिटी की मतलब तलाश करूँ कि जॉब का प्रिपरेशन करूँ जिसमें लेस सैलरी हो, उससे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता, लेकिन वर्कलोड लेस हो या फिर 5 डे वर्क हो, तो क्या ये मतलब प्रयास की कैटेगरी में आता है क्या ब्रो? ये मेरा क्वेश्चन था।
see that first of all, people they won't get now, Naukri only they won't get. Okay, so if you have got the option to go for particular job that you have actually sought for, then you should go for that. Okay. Then, when you have already got some experience, this is a personal question actually. This is not the question to be asked in such a forum. So, I don't want to go so personal into it. The thing is that
Okay, bro,
somebody,
I can discuss with you privately, bro.
that
If
will be
if
better.
it's problematic, then
This is
I can discuss with you personally. Okay, Hare Krishna.
okay. Now let's come back to Arthur. Pro, you had a question. The last question, please tell.
इसको अ, अगर लॉन्ग टाइम में अगर कोई भक्ति मार्ग में रहता है और बहुत ज्यादा उसने ग्रंथ पढ़ रखे हैं जैसे श्रीमद् भागवतम, भगवत गीता, चैतन्य चरितामृत, चैतन्य भागवत, लेकिन ड्यू टू नोइंग दिस काइंड ऑफ स्क्रिप्चर्स एक अहंकार आ जाता है, आई नो सो मच, आई नो सो मच। तो हाउ सो इज इट ओके फॉर डिवोशनल सर्विस, और हाउ कैन वी कंट्रोल दिस काइंड ऑफ माइंडसेट, और ऐसा क्या प्रिकॉशंस ले सके कि ऐसा एटीट्यूड ना बिल्ड हो कि दूसरे को हम छोटा करके बात करके, या तुम कुछ नहीं जानते हो ऐसे, मैं इतना श्लोक पढ़ा हूँ। तो ऐसा अगर एटीट्यूड मन अगर पढ़ते पढ़ते अगर किसी को आ जाता है तो कैसे डील करना चाहिए इस चीज को कि आई एम नोइंग सो मच शास्त्रस, quoting so much Sanskrit slokas here and there randomly.
Yeah, see, Prabhu, these all are books, Bhagavad Gita as it is, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, these are all books recommended by Srila Prabhupada to be read by his followers. You know, if somebody is reading it also, even though he is getting proudy, is well and good. Okay. So, but thing is that if somebody has read it once, he will never be same proudy fellow. If somebody has gone through Bhagavad Gita nicely, you have gone through Bhagavatam nicely, he will be. If you have read Bhagavatam nicely once, even once, Srila Prabhupada writes in introduction that he will be self-realized person. How can he be proudy? Self-realized person. When he has read Chaitanya Charitamrita, he will be still proudy. Impossible. मान ही नहीं सकते. You can see Krishna in the pages of Bhagavatam. Srila Prabhupada writes. And by seeing Krishna, you will remain proud. हो नहीं सकता. So reading Srila Prabhupada books will not get you proudy, but will you get closer to Krishna. And Krishna is most humble person, most humble person. And if you associate with Krishna, even though you could be proudy person, rowdy person, groudy person, howdy person, every person, type of person, you will become grounded and humble, bumble devotee. But first read. Give me the टेस्टिमोनी जो ये तीनों शास्त्रों को पढ़ लिया एक बार भी और वो प्राउडी रह गया ऐसा मुझे तो नहीं दिखा आज तक कोई. आई नेवर सीन सच पर्सन. चलो चैतन्य चरितामृत पढ़ लिया दो तीन बार, भागवतम पढ़ लिया दो तीन बार, भले श्लोक याद हो ना हो, it can never be proudy because Bhagavatam is Krishna himself, Chaitanya Charitamrita is Mahaprabhu himself. He is associating with them in the line of disciplic succession, in association of Srila Prabhupada, in the rightful attitude. He can never be proudy. Okay, Prabhu, this is my understanding so far. I never seen such person who has read all these three books and acted proudly and insanely. Never seen such person. Because this is upay. Srimad Bhagavatam, reading Srimad Bhagavatam is the greatest upay. Upay of getting Krishna prema. उसमें कोई दोष नहीं है. Somebody just read Srimad Bhagavatam, he will get Krishna prema. And how Krishna prema can come to anybody unless he is a humble? Because humility is the ground of Krishna prema. He will become grounded, he will become humble. Automatically all qualities will come if somebody reads Srimad Bhagavatam. पहले पढ़ो तो उसके बाद फिर सोचना क्या बनूंगा, मैं प्राउडी बनूंगा कि हम्बल बनूंगा, है ना. पढ़ते तो है नहीं, पहले सोचते रहते हैं क्या होगा तो मैं पढ़ लूंगा तो कहीं प्राउडी तो नहीं बन जाऊंगा. अरे क्या है, प्राउडी बन जाओ तो अच्छा है. पढ़ने के बाद गौर गोविंद गोसाई महाराज tells no, that service is glorious and I will accept. Even though doing that service I become proud. Right? If some service has been given to you, that service makes you proud, do that service and become proud. That is better than not doing service and become so-called humble. कोई बोलता है प्रभु जी प्रचार करेंगे मैं फेमस हो जाऊंगा और उसके बाद फिर मैं हम्बल नहीं रहूंगा. तो ये प्रचार कर बाबा, सब कुछ पता चलेगा, फिर तुमको हम्बल बना दिया जाएगा. सेवा कर, सेवा कर, यूट्यूब पे वीडियो छोड़, सेवा कर, चार प्रसार कर, कुछ तो कर. बैठे बैठे हाथ पे हाथ डाले कुछ नहीं करके कुछ प्राउड बन. दैट इज बेटर देन नॉट डूइंग एनीथिंग. राइट. सिमिलरली सर्विस इज देयर. वी शुड नॉट थिंक टू मच अबाउट व्हाट विल, क्या मैं शुद्ध बनूंगा, अशुद्ध भक्त बनूंगा. अरे छोड़ो, बस सेवा करो. सेवा करते ही करने से शुद्ध भक्त बने. ऐसा कोई हुआ है क्या प्रभु जी कोई सेवा नहीं करूंगा, ये सेवा करने से ये प्रॉब्लम हो जाएगा, वो सेवा करने से वो प्रॉब्लम हो जाएगा, तो मैं चुपचाप रूम के अंदर बैठ के शुद्ध भक्त बन जाऊंगा बैठे बैठे बिना सेवा किए हुए. ऐसा ऐसा नहीं सोचना चाहिए. सो वी शुड जस्ट प्रोसीड अहेड ग्लोरीफाइंग कृष्णा. Everything will be taken there by the Lord by Sankirtan. Sankirtan is most purifying, na? So Sarvatma Sanapanam Param Vijayate Sri Krishna. Sankirtanam, Sarvatma Sanatanam, all types of everything will be just cleansed. Sarvatma Sanatanam by Sankirtan. So we should take part in Sankirtan. Then you become Narad Muni, perfectly pure Sankirtan warrior like Narad Muni. Then you can go ahead here and there, reach all over the universe, beyond universe. So far, we are not Narad Muni. We have to preach whatever anartha, whatever body, whatever mind, intelligence we have got. So that only we have to give our best service. No, we try to give our best service, and through that way only we'll get Krishna. And purification is just a side effect of that. Purification, one should not think too much about purification. One should think about service. Whatever happens, do service. Do something for Srila Prabhupada. Do something for bhakti. Do something devotional service. Okay, so this is for today. I think we should now pause our discussion here only. Okay, thank you so much, Bruce, for joining today's Nectar of Instruction discussion. So we shall meet most probably on Monday. So that will be informed in the group. Hare Krishna. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Rupa Goswami Prabhupada ki
Jai.
jai.